as a kid?
Of course I did. I absolutely believed in the Tooth Fairy as a kid, and because there might be children and kids watching this too as well with their parents. I got to say that the Tooth Fairy was great to me when I was a kid. The Tooth Fairy left me generally $1 or $2, which I always appreciated. I was always trying to catch the Tooth Fairy, though. I haven't quite caught the Tooth Fairy, and even now with my little girl. When we put the tooth underneath her pillow, I try and stay up looking for the Tooth Fairy. Haven't found him yet, or haven't found her yet.
What does it take to be a good Tooth Fairy?
Well, in my opinion, in my opinion, through my experience, I think what it takes to be a good Tooth Fairy is to be focused. You have to be incredibly focused because you have one sole mission, which is to get the tooth from underneath the pillow without being seen, without being caught. But oftentimes the Tooth Fairy, and I know now, run into issues with what if there's no windows open, or what if they just can't get through the front door, and then they have to shrink themselves. It's a lot of precarious situations that the Tooth Fairy can find themselves into.
So what do you think the message of this movie is?
Well, I think the message of this movie is, well, there's a couple of messages of the movie. The first one would be the believing that the impossible is indeed possible, and the power of belief and what that means, and the power of one's potential, whether they're a child or a teenager or an adult, but understanding that self-worth and understanding that power of potential is vital. And it's really important, which is why it resonated with me. Even in the guise within the guise of a comedy, I still think there's some pretty strong messages here. And oftentimes in life there are a lot of sayings that inspire us that we either have in our office space or in our kitchen or on the fridge or in our BlackBerry and our phone, whatever it is. And oftentimes they could be a bit cliched. But it's true when you think about, the power of dreams and how important it is, and that could be very powerful. I know for me, it's powerful.
How was it to get in touch with your feminine side? Donning a tutu, wearing pink wings.
It was a very interesting experience, donning the tutu, the pink tutu with pink wings, and the powder blue outfit with powder blue wings. But the truth is when you set out to make a comedy, there's always something pretty cool and unique when you can make people laugh and feel good. So when you make a comedy, for me, my approach and my opinion, as an actor making a comedy, you can't be too concerned with looking cool, because cool is oftentimes the antithesis of what's funny. So in this case, I signed up to be the Tooth Fairy and everything that means. And then that means wearing a tutu, whether it's pink, whether it's blue, flying, running around the house, shrinking myself to about 3-4 inches. All those things come along with being the Tooth Fairy.
What do you think the message of the movie is?
Well, I think there are a couple of messages, the movie, that can be taken away from it. I think the first message would be understanding and believing that the impossible is possible. And I believe in that, and which is why it resonated with me. And I also think that another message would be for people to understand their potential and the power of their potential. And oftentimes we in life, and I'm guilty of this too, where we may trip up a bit, and we all trip, but everybody deserves to get up and walk again, especially if they're inspired to do that. So I think the power of believing in one's potential, whether it's a child in the movie or whether it's Julie Andrews and Billy Crystal and Ashley Judd, my girlfriend in the movie, helping this guy believe in his potential.